Hi, I'm here with Richard Khoo of the Blizzard design team. We're here to talk about Heroes of the Storm a little bit. I've said that literally wrong every time I've tried to this weekend. Did you guys give that strong consideration before you decided to name it that? Were you part of that process?
So we actually did talk about that, how the acronym is actually the same as Heart of the Swarm. But we figured that once Legacy of the Void comes out, it's going to be all right. Most people, I personally refer to the game as StarCraft 2. So we figured that, and people will be calling Heroes of the Storm Heroes. So we were thinking of it, but we felt like over time people would get it.
Yeah, I guess I got to start doing that too.
It's okay.
Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit and say, I'll give a little bit of background about what it is that you do with the game?
Yeah, my name is Richard Khoo again. I'm a senior game designer too on Heroes of the Storm. I work on the heroes, talents, and battleground content and systems. I've worked on the StarCraft 2 team for actually about 6.5 years before I transitioned over to Heroes of the Storm. StarCraft 2 was my first love coming to Blizzard, but now Heroes of the Storm is actually what I've been working on.
Cool. Do you want to go a little bit into the design philosophy of what you're looking to achieve with the heroes in this game? I felt like, playing a little bit yesterday, I felt like the design was pretty good, and it was a little bit different than in like a typical MOBA game, but there was a lot of, it was kind of, with the characters that are in it right now, it's a lot of sort of archetypes that you would expect to see. Do you expect it to go other places in the future?
Yeah, so one of the main reasons that we're building Heroes of the Storm is for the creative freedom. We thought it's about time that Blizzard has put out a cross-universe game where everything collides in the Nexus, and so you have like all these different battlegrounds that people are playing in, like Blackheart's Bay, where you're collecting treasure to pay off Blackheart, or in Dragonshire, where you become this all-powerful dragon. Then you could face off Arthas versus Diablo versus Raynor, a lot of those iconic heroes from Blizzard's 22+ years of lore. As far as like doing different things in this space, we've smoothed out some of the rough edges that on other games of this genre. So we've taken out last hit, so players can just focus on fighting the enemy minions and enemy heroes, and so they can also like pay more attention to the environment that's all around them. We also are experimenting with a new thing called like team levels, and that frees us up to design specialized heroes such as like Uther and Malfurion, so they can be as powerful as the allies that they're supporting. And also, I don't know if you had a chance to play him yet, but Abathur is one of our new special heroes. He's more of a commander hero. He sits in the back line of this fort. He can't actually fight because he's got little jazz hands. There's a little gimpy attack, but his signature ability, his symbiote, allows him to like ride shotgun with any hero, and it's got a map-wide range. So really, his gameplay is actually more like StarCraft 2, where it's just all about your map awareness and exercising when to use your ability to help your allies at the best time.
So Justin Browder in the press conference just now was saying that the reason they ended up with the team experience was because it was actually in designing Abathur, they found that when they were giving him attack damage, it made him too strong, basically, and they want these support heroes that are like really, really dedicated supports.
Yeah.
So is the idea to give it like, make the support heroes like mostly spellcasters instead of like, because in other games the supports still do attack damage, they still right click a little bit, and you can kind of make them relevant, but they're not. They don't do a lot of. There's not like a dedicated healer in a lot of these games. Is that kind of like you're looking to kind of diversify the roles there?
Yeah. So in reducing the attack damage to support heroes and giving them like a really pointed kit that's for support, and not having to worry about doing a lot of damage for like pushing and last hit, we can give them a little bit more. We'll give them a little bit more juice to their ability. So when you look at a hero like Malfurion, he's got this massive AOE CC, and that lets him capture more heroes and sets up for everybody else. One of his heroic abilities they can choose from, he can choose to do a massive AOE healing, or he can choose to do a quick burst with silence CC and dot. And it's just those kind of decisions that the support heroes can make that make it really exciting to play them in this type of game.
So with the way it works is, you're at certain levels you're given a choice between different talents. Kind of talents, yes. Yeah. Where you either like get more attack damage or attack speed, or you also get like a bigger damage in your Q or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then your ult, you get 2 choices for your ult. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of curious as to like how many different skills do you imagine have for each hero? Because in terms of like you have the 3 and then your 2 ult choices.
Right. So right now it's there's 3 times 3 times 3 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 usually. So there's about that many choices. We're still like in the alpha stage of the game, so we might be adding more choices. But the other thing that you should keep in mind is that in the out-of-game experience, you'll be leveling up your player level. When you finish a game, you get out-of-game experience and you'll level up. That will actually unlock additional heroes and talents. So something we couldn't show to you today, for obvious reasons because you're just playing in-game stuff, is that in the out-of-game, you can actually customize the set that you pick from in-game. So like if we ever give Malfurion, like say, a third heroic ability, it's up to you whether or not you want to have that choice in-game. And it's all going to come down to what your team comp is, what your battleground you're expecting to play in, like what the enemy is doing. So it's those kind of like sort of top-level decisions that you have to make out-of-game and then make them in-game as well.
So do you think any of those out-of-game decisions will be battleground specific, or will it all be global?
We're thinking right now for ranked play that we're going to telegraph to the players what map they're going to be playing on, because they're really important. Like certain maps are more kill oriented than other maps, and some maps are like more map control oriented, and some are actually very PvE oriented. Like in Haunted Mines, yeah. You go underground and you're collecting skulls and you're spreading out, and so being a fast PvE damager, like Vala's very good at it, and so is like Nazeeba, so you kind of want to cater the talents that you can pick from for the map that you're playing, and we think that would be important for competitive play, but we haven't gotten there just yet though. So
I noticed in playing different classes, the different heroes, there's some overlap in terms of the talents you can pick, in terms of like, they all have the one where it's like 10% attack speed, and they all have the one where it's like, it's a little, like, when you hit level 20, there's the one where you can choose to get extra health and then also resurrect when you die.
Right.
Do you intend for there to be a lot of overlap there, or will it be mostly hero-specific, as you work towards the future?
Yeah, I think that we actually want to gravitate towards more hero-specific stuff, because that's like when you design those hero-specific stuff, you're actually you're using them as inspiration, so you're creating talents that feel very specific to it. Like you look at Stitches, one of his talents is increases the range of his hook by like 50%, and that just feels awesome, more awesome than say, oh, Stitches gets like plus 10% strength, and that might translate to like roughly the same amount of effective like combat power, but it's way more awesome when it's like really tricked out for the hero, and that's the kind of things that we'll be looking for in the future.
So would you say, like, when making those kind of design decisions in terms of what to offer the player, are you looking to make it sort of pretty easy to get into in terms of like, not making it too overwhelming at the start? Is that a little what it's going for?
Yeah. So in the very beginning, we're going to start you with a much smaller talent selection. We give you a lot of selection at BlizzCon, much more than you might start with, because we want to let players know that they're going to be making a lot of choices, like more advanced players like yourself. But in the beginning, you'll start with simple talents, and then over time, as I was mentioning with the out-of-game progression, you'll unlock more and more talents. And this system is awesome because we can scale it with some of the like really, really complicated stuff in the future as our game grows and as players get more skilled at the game.
So I think that's about all I have. Okay. Normally what I do is I ask for like shout-outs and stuff. Do you want to do any of that? Is that something Blizzard lets you do?
Yeah, I'd love to do a shout. So, we can't wait for you guys to play the game. I'd like to give a shout out to one of our fallen comrades in battle. His name is Ken Eric Hagman. The day before BlizzCon, unfortunately, he had an accident and broke his wrist. And his first thought was that, oh no, I'm not going to be able to play in the panel where the designers are playing against each other. Who's going to be my substitute? Please, I want to watch this game. So shout out to him. Shout out to all of Team Liquid. Shout out for all the Blizzard fans. And thank you for making this game possible.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.